goes up in the ride. Science magic side by side. Experiments we can't deny. Let's see how high we can fly. In the lab or in the yard. STEM with Lexx, it ain't too hard. We build, we move, we see the spark. Learning here leaves a mark. The science with Lexx, come on, join the quest. Hands-on learning, we're the best. Hey, hey, come on kids, let's do the test.
Hey guys, welcome to Lexx STEM Lab. We're still continuing with our STEM career segment, and I have another good episode for you today. Today, I have, funny enough, she's my old, could have been, should have been, possibly, still can be, my college roommate, Miss Taylor Coffey. Taylor Coffey, the STEM Lab.
Hi, I'm
So,
excited to be here.
thank you so much for being here. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us your title or your profession, and where are you from?
Yes, I'm Taylor Coffey. I am a responsible supply chain project manager, and I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, Midwest. Yes, ma'am. All right. So, reflecting back on grade school, what kind of students would your teachers say you were?
My teachers would definitely say smart, but shy, which is the total opposite of me now. But I was shy back then. Talked a little bit, but never got talking too much on my marks because I wouldn't talk to anybody. So.
All right. And then what was your favorite subject in school?
I think my favorite, I really can't remember, but I think in elementary school, my favorite subject was probably science because I knew I liked to be hands-on. Anything other than that, I'll be bored. So,
I guess I'd be bored. All right. What was your least favorite subject?
history or
Oh,
social
okay,
studies,
without a
whatever
doubt.
you call it.
What was it for you about history where you was like, you know what? This isn't for me.
Can I be honest? Like,
Mhm.
boring, snooze fest. No, I think it was just the structure of history class. Like, open up the textbook and we're going to read this passage. And it's just like, but I would say now I'm more of a history buff, surprisingly, because I retained the information. I just didn't like listening to it, if you
Yeah.
will. So I know my facts, so I'm very good at trivia. But in the process of learning that information, I was like, no,
My girl said, I know my trivia, so I know who to call if I ever go out for a trivia night. I
I
need
go to
Taylor on my
weekly trivia
team.
night.
As you
It's so fun.
should. Okay. All right. So can you tell us what degrees or certifications you have and what schools or programs did you attend?
Yes. So let's start with the second half of the question. I attended Florida A&M University for the first 2 years of my education, and then I transferred and I finished up at Northern Illinois University with a degree, a bachelor's of science in industrial and systems engineering, with a minor in applied mathematics and my emphasis in engineering management. As far as engineering management goes, I have a couple certifications in Lean Six Sigma, which is continuous improvement. And so I have my yellow belt from Rockwell Automation, and then I'm currently working on my green belt project so I can get that green belt certification as well.
Oh my goodness. Way to go, Taylor.
Thanks. And I have an undergraduate certification in Lean Six Sigma, which is just like generalized, not any belts, but yeah.
That's all right. That's fire, Taylor. Super proud of you. All right. So now that we've talked about your education, can you describe your career path and how did you come from your education to where you are now?
Yeah. So when I started my academic journey, I was originally majoring in civil engineering, and I took one thermo class and I said, absolutely not. So I actually, my roommate at the time was doing some undergraduate research with the industrial engineering professor, and he really was trying to recruit me, and I learned more about what they do. And in the process of me transferring, I decided to switch my major to industrial and systems engineering because it sounded more in line with what I wanted to do, which was mixing business with engineering principles in order to problem solve. In
Ooh.
high school, I was really big in entrepreneurship and like business, and I originally wanted to go to school for business. My mom said no, so I changed my major to engineering, and that's how I landed in industrial and systems engineering. And so, what I do, that's what, right? What
Yep,
do I
you're
do
good.
now?
Yep.
Yeah, so what I do is I work in supply chain, and I've had several positions in our supply chain at Rockwell Automation where I work. And so supply chain is just basically how do we get the product that we made to the customer at the end of the day. So when you go into Walmart, it took logistics, it took some trucks to get it there. It took, maybe a boat to ship it there. So all the logistics and procurement is essentially what makes up supply chain. And so in at my job, I've worked in project management, I've worked as a quality engineer, and I've also worked as a production control analyst, which is basically someone who plans and executes manufacturing lines. And so I've done some manufacturing work, and I've also done like some more analytical work. And analytical work is where I like the best. And so I currently work as a responsible supply chain project manager. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that entails. Responsible supply chain, if you work in engineering or supply chain, that is a buzzword right now. Companies all across the world are trying to be more sustainable, more ethically responsible, and economically responsible. And so, all of those principles make up what can be a responsible supply chain. The sector that I work in is in governmental compliance with our suppliers. And so we basically don't want to work with any bad people, right? We want to be a ethically responsible, and Rockwell Automation has won several awards for their ethics. And that is something I align with, which is why I chose to work there. But we don't want to work with anybody who doesn't, follow appropriate code of conduct, people that work with conflict minerals, and those are just some of the campaigns that I work on with our suppliers. And so I basically handle that outreach and making sure that we work with people who are essentially, good. And in the second half of my job, more responsible supply chain is a diversity piece. And so at Rockwell Automation, we do try to work with diverse vendors. And so I report out on I don't manage, but I do report out on our supplier diversity spend numbers. And so diverse can be anything from race, sexual orientation, veteran status, women, gender. So that is the work that I do now.
Awesome sauce. All right. And what are some key skills that you think that you have to be in this profession or in this specific position?
Yeah, I think some of the hard skills that you would want to have basically be good at math. And if you're not good at math, know how to get good at math. There's a lot of programs out there like Excel and different calculators. If you're in school, you do need to learn how to do it by hand. I will say you need to know what's going on in the background. But once you get into the field, you don't have time to sit there and derive formulas. So, you can just understand some math principles, I think, from a technical standpoint, and then just the different softwares that you use. A lot of times you will learn that on the job. I would say soft skills, that is where I personally think I shine. And so my soft skills, I think that for anybody, I think you would want to have excellent communication, which is probably something you've heard already, but it's true. Can you break down the technical jargon? Can you break down the hard vocabulary words that you learned in school to someone who may not have the same knowledge as you? That's an important skill set because it demonstrates that you actually understand what you're doing. And so I'd say communication and also presentation are just two soft skills of many that I think would make you successful at this kind of job, because when you are hosting a successful presentation, hopefully everybody's able to take away what it is you wanted them to. And if not, you have some work to do. So I think that getting good at presenting in a cohesive manner, okay, in a short time, can you do that effectively? That's things you want to practice.
I love that response, too. Absolutely love it.
Thanks.
Did you have any mentors or role models who inspired you on this journey?
Absolutely. So many. I will be nowhere without them, truly. And I'd say from a role model standpoint, let's just say growing up, I didn't know any engineers in my life. It took my eighth grade math teacher to tell me to look into engineering before I actually kind of knew what engineers did. But I'd say just role model on how to be a professional adult. definitely my mom and my grandma, my aunt, obviously members of my family, but my mom, I think she's an upstanding woman and I think she's so classy and so graceful. And so, hi mom, if you're watching. No, but I think that those are skills that you take with you to work. You know what I mean? Can you stay level-headed? Can you stay calm, in times of adversity or challenging situations? And so, definitely my role models for sure. Mentorship, I look at a little bit differently. Sometimes they can be the same person, and you're very lucky if they are, which I have a few that are. But I definitely think mentorship comes from, like, at least for me, more of a professional standpoint when you have questions like, hey, should I take this class? Should I take that class? How important do you think it is if I, take a summer class versus an internship? Just things of that nature. And so I'm grateful to have had those people to rely on as well. A couple of like my former professors, Dr. Caldwell, and some of my sorors, Chantel Hayes Carson and Dr. Whitney Gaskins. And so I definitely say having that support, joining a sorority, joining some additional organizations like the National Society of Black Engineers, those things I would definitely say were vehicles for me to find mentors. And I'm grateful to have my mentors and role models.
Beautiful. Can you tell us what sorority you're in?
Yes, the first Black sorority.
Okay, girl. Oh,
Alpha
you
Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I love my sorority.
I love Taylor. You are so funny. Can you describe a day in the life for you? What does that look like?
Yeah. A day in the life for me looks like a few meetings with vendors sometimes. So we have different suppliers that I work with, and sometimes you have to take like a couple calls. A lot of emailing and spreadsheets, I'd say. Just managing some data. Um, and getting my campaigns finished. And so we call them campaigns and we also call them surveys. They're used interchangeably. But at the end of the day, that's what helps me get the data about, like I talked about earlier, so our suppliers who are, ethical and government complying. So it looks like managing those campaigns and finishing them on time. And other than that, I'd say at work, we have employee resource groups that I am very much involved in. And so we have an African Ancestral Professionals Network. And so a lot of times in my day to day, I connect with them. We might have lunch, we might have a program to do. I know on Juneteenth, we're volunteering. So that's pretty much what my days look like.
Nice, nice. Can you tell me something funny that's happened at work for you recently?
Oh my gosh, I read this question. Um, something funny that's happened to me at work recently. What if nothing funny happened?
That's okay. So let's say maybe, can you tell us something funny that's happened, whether at work, during an internship? It doesn't have to be recent. Maybe an internship, or even when you were in school at FAM or the other school in Chicago. Chicago.
Yeah, actually, I do have something. I'd say there was a time where I didn't really realize that Taylor was a unisex name. And going further, Taylor Coffey would be taken, as potentially a man. And so I was doing a supplier visit and I was running a little bit late. And so I'm texting the administrative assistant, all my details, but I guess they weren't being properly communicated. And so I was in the right room, but they were outside of the room looking for me, but they were looking for a man. Thought that was hilarious because they're like, well, we could have got this started like 3 minutes ago had we known who we were looking for. And so that was when I learned to attach a photo, to all my email accounts because I was emailing them not off my work email. So there was no picture for them to go off of. They're just like, Taylor Coffey, we thought you were a man. And so I don't know, I found that kind of funny because we were missing each other type of thing. And I'm like, I see this group of people, but I don't work here. So I'm just standing in the supplier room like, do, I don't know where y'all at. So that was
That
fun.
is funny. That is so funny. All right. So, what kind of problems would you say, in your personal opinion, do you solve at work?
In addition to my day job, there is something called like process documentation. So the team I work on is very new, and I would say that my onboarding wasn't the best just because we didn't have like documented processes, which unfortunately is like a large problem. It's a problem you'll see at most major companies. Just kind of like people have their own way of doing stuff, or like things are kind of like tribal knowledge just passed down through the years, and it's like everybody knows how to do it until you get someone who doesn't know how to do it. And so I would say those are some problems that I'm currently solving with my green belt certification that I mentioned earlier. My project is dedicated to improving the process that I just went through to complete one of my campaigns for our suppliers. And so I think that with process documentation, it drives efficiency and it cuts down on questions. It drives, a standard. You need a standard so that, you can excel or, hopefully not fall below. But if you don't have anything written down, we don't know what we're measuring ourselves against. And so I think that process documentation is definitely one of the issues that I'm solving right now.
Hmm, beautiful too. My girl said, "Hey, this is what I'm out to achieve." I love that. And like you said, you are trying to better the process that you just came out of because you're able to see, hey, this could have been done a little differently, or we can tweak this. And I
Yep.
love that you are trying to better it for the people that are coming behind you. And
Mm-hmm.
what this is all
So
about.
someone new. Yeah.
All right. I know you mentioned Excel earlier and calculators. Is there any other specific software tools or any equipment that you use regularly at work?
Yes, at work I use SAP, which is a huge, I don't even know. I think they are a data management system technically, but SAP is one, Microsoft Suites. Those are things you should get good at. I would say we have a lot of like internal hubs. Those are just things that you learn on the job, but be open and flexible to learning those. And I would say in my previous rotations, like when I was doing the leadership development program, we used a lot of MATLAB and just being able to do like CAD drawings and stuff like that. So MATLAB and or SolidWorks, you want to get good at that. I think some people use, what is it, Caterpillar or something? Some people use that also. So
AutoCAD?
AutoCAD is another one too, but there's another one that starts with a C. I don't know. We can cut that out. But Caterpillar might be a company. I'm fresh off work. No, yeah.
I got faith it's Caterpillar.
You think so?
It can do that. If Taylor says it's Caterpillar, then it's.
No. They gonna be
Why are
like,
we
girl,
getting
what's
here and
the
it's like loud and wrong? That's okay. Look, what my girl said, edit that part out.
Yeah, just cut that.
But
But no,
that's
yeah,
all
solid core, MATLAB, AutoCAD, that's a good one. Yeah.
right. So, in your opinion, what is the most rewarding aspect of your job?
Okay, not to sound corny, but I do think the most rewarding aspect of my job is when I talked about my employee resource groups. We do a lot of community outreach. I sit on the committee with one other person for the community outreach for the Milwaukee area. And I think that is the most rewarding thing because we partner with the local elementary school. And I usually volunteer with the fifth through eighth graders. And like they are just so young and full of life. And I'm just like, yes, I was your age once. Also young with no bills and full of life. And so
Okay, no bills.
no bills. Life is different when you don't have bills. You can see it in their faces, the joy.
Listen, the joy.
The
All that
joy.
goes downhill once you hit 18 and hey, we need to tax
Listen,
it.
a bouquet of bills you will be handed at your graduation. No,
Hmm.
I'm just kidding. No, but I think that's so rewarding, and they're interested in a lot of the students. I think they're eager too to just hear more because it's not something that they see in their everyday communities. And this school is located in the inner city parts of Milwaukee in that school district. And so I think, when they're like, well, what's an engineer? You have some that are like kind of standoffish at first, and they're just like, I don't know what that is. But then by the end of the day, they're like, oh man, Miss Taylor, like, can we go with you? Or like, can we learn more? Can we visit you at work? And they do come to Rockwell Automation for some things, like Engineers Week. We host things like at our facility so that they can see, day to day. And that really just fills my cup. Like I am like energized after that. I'm like ready to go, ready to do my day job because I know there's like somebody looking at me, from somewhere, and I'm supposed to be a role model to them. Like I mentioned my role models and mentors earlier. So it is rewarding. It's the most rewarding part.
That's so sweet. Now, what is the most challenging aspect of your job?
Right now, I'd say the most challenging aspect is working with international suppliers and vendors. As I mentioned previously, like Rockwell Automation is a global company and we work in the automation industry, which is booming right now. And so I have shared teams in India. I have vendors that are in China, and sometimes it can be difficult to communicate, which I mentioned earlier. And so I think that, sometimes we use metaphors or analogies, right? And you will learn like people in China don't have the same analogies or like kind of phrases that we Americans have. So like, oh, like hit it out the park or like, home run. I don't know, just like different little like little phrases. And they're like, you have to speak more clearly. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to really be able to drive home whatever it is that you're trying to explain in a cohesive manner, yes, but then also having that either language barrier or just like cultural barrier or just like difference, time zone difference. Because sometimes I got to be up at 6 a.m. to talk to somebody over in Poland because it's afternoon for them. And so just like those different caveats or nuances can make it a little challenging, and not challenges where I can't get my work done, but challenges where you have to adjust like your mindset or your schedule for the day.
Okay, that I can definitely say that sounds challenging. My girl said I have to get up at 6 o'clock for a meeting. Wow.
Right
How
on and bushy
far back
tail.
are they?
Do you know what that's like? What'd you say?
Are they far back or are they behind us? Or well, I know you're an hour behind me, but are they
Well,
behind or ahead?
Poland is like ahead of us. Like it's already afternoon. Same thing with the UK.
Mm.
They're already in the afternoon. At 8 o'clock in the morning, it's like three, I think, for the guy I work with. And then in India, it's like nighttime. Like it'll be like 6 p.m. at like 8 a.m. here. So, but they work like 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. or whatever it is, their time, like I don't know, Indian time. So,
Right.
yeah,
All right.
it's a challenge for everybody. They're up late, I'm up early. We make it work.
My girl said we make it work. Nonetheless, the job gets done. And that's
Yeah, it's fun though. It's fun just to hear like, worldly news or whatever they got going on, and they want to hear about our worldly news in America. And like, oh, so what's going on over there? I'm like, child,
everything.
please.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So outside of work, what are your favorite hobbies or activities? What do you like to do?
Outside of work, I really, really enjoy spending time with my friends. I love to host. That's been my thing lately. I love hosting events. We are starting a book club. And then I also love to travel. I like to cook very often. I cook for my friends when I host. I enjoy cooking a lot and trying new recipes. Lately, my thing has been I'm going through a series of cookbooks and I am trying a new recipe once a month out of that cookbook. And I just think it's so fun. I have my own little version of Chopped. If y'all watch that show, I have Chopped in my house. And I'm just like
Okay. I
scrambling, making
love
all the
that.
stuff, and it's just me. So when I'm done, I guess I'm the judge too.
Okay, wearing all the
That's
hats.
fun. Right. So yeah, I would say those are my hobbies for the most part.
Okay. So
Oh, I
go
missed
ahead.
one.
No.
Movies. I love movies. I love going to the movies. I love the theater, plays, live action,
Mhm.
anything, musicals, Broadway. I love it all. I love just, I guess you could say film. I just love like the experience of like going to the movies. COVID was hard for me because I couldn't go to the movie theater. I had to watch everything on streaming. I purchased a soundbar though and a subwoofer. I made the movies at home.
I
But
bet.
I love, man, my friends laugh because like I go to the movies by myself, like $5, now $6. Tuesday and we go hand in hand. Like I love a good movie or the Mystery Mondays at Marcus Theater.
What's the last movie you went to see?
In the theater, the last movie I went to see in theaters was The Wiz. They brought it back, like they put it in theaters for a limited amount of time. The Wiz is not a new movie at all, but I love musicals, and that is my favorite musical. And my friend and I, we went to go see The Wiz in theaters, and it was just like I said, the experience. Like even though I've seen the movie 1,000 times, we were all singing along. It's just the experience, of, like going to the theaters. I don't know, I just love it.
Oh, that's nice. My girl said I love the movie theaters. Did you see Sinners? I
I
don't know.
did
I may edit this part
twice.
out yet. Okay.
I
And did
did. I
you
went to
like
the
it? I've
movie
been
twice.
hearing mixed reviews on it. I guess it just depends on the person.
Oh, did you not see it?
I have not. I'm going to see it either tomorrow or this weekend.
Yes, go see it.
Yes.
You can formulate your own opinion. I loved it, but also, like I said, I love film. So at it from that, cinematography. I don't know, cinematic aspects. Yep, there we go. Cinematography. That's the word I'm looking for. But looking at it from that aspect, I was like, yes, 10 out of 10, beautiful. plot storyline to me, beautiful. I loved it, but I can see where people like didn't like, so much the plot and everything, but I loved it.
I loved it. And that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Wow. So if bills and responsibilities did not exist, do you think that you would go into a completely different field or would you pick a different job?
Yes. I think that I would have gone to culinary school and been a chef.
Okay, my person, I would have been a chef. So
I
now that
love
we're
cooking.
talking about Taylor being a chef, let's say we're gonna make you a cooking show.
Okay.
It's called Taylor Made. Yeah, we ate that up right there. You like
I
that?
like that.
So hello, Cooking Network, get at my girl. Yes,
Hmm.
ma'am. What would be the theme song of this cooking show for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, now, see, that changes the question
Oh,
a
look,
little
we'll do
bit.
two questions in. I got you, girl. So
Mm,
we're gonna do a song for your cooking show, Tailor Made.
yeah.
And then the other one is going to be a theme song for your life right now. So maybe,
Yeah.
um, I don't know, Life with Taylor. Mm, Taylor. You like that? Like
Tailored
Taylor, like
Tenacious
your
Adventures.
clothing, but this is Taylor.
Oh,
You like that?
Taylor Taylor. I do like
Mm,
that.
mm.
Mm. Might have to give you a 5% on that one because I like that a lot.
Hello, my girl said 5% right off the bat. See, this is why we're here. Absolutely. So we're gonna do two songs. Awesome.
Yeah, for the cooking show, I actually think it would be Walk It Like I Talk It by the Migos, but just the
Okay.
instrumental. That beat is fire. I don't know if people listen to that, but if you ever just like strip the words, just like, hey, okay. I really like the instrumental of that song. And then for my life, it definitely be Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce. I love that song. I think it's so motivating and uplifting. If you ever feeling scared before you go into an interview, before you go take a test, before you go, I don't know, anything you scared to do, I promise you, you a black girl, put that song on.
Mm.
Let's go put that battery in your back,
Oh,
okay?
get you right. I love that. Okay. So, what advice would you give to a student who might be interested in STEM, but they haven't found a school subject that they either like or that they've connected with just yet?
I would say stay open, keep trying. I think that a lot of people don't like math and science because they don't understand math or science or they don't have a good teacher. And that is just my truth. I would love to be a math teacher one day just so I can like inspire the youth a little bit more. I think once you have like some application behind the stuff you're doing, it makes math and science just so much more enjoyable. And that's coming from me. My brother got to go to a Montessori school growing up and I didn't. And so watching him like get that hands on, I'm like, that's what I needed. That was the disconnect, I think. And so if you're unable to get that, not everybody's gonna go to Montessori school or have projects and stuff. I think find some auxiliary groups, and I'm gonna shamelessly plug Lexx STEM Laboratory, okay, if you're in the Florida area. And
Oh,
also like NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, they have NSBE Junior chapters all over the country. And so I would definitely look and see if like there's a NSBE Junior chapter near you and they can get you plugged into like more um applicable math and science practices. And I think that, or whatever the subject is, find you an auxiliary group that, specializes in that subject. If you don't like English and you want to, enjoy English more, go to your local library. They always have free programs. And so, but you did say STEM, so I'll keep it there. But yeah, if you are struggling to find something that you just, it's so broad. And I wish people knew that too. Not to go on a tangent, but it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Engineering, I have my degree in that. In mathematics, I have my minor in that. I can tell you those two things alone is so broad. You can do anything. You become a mathematician, people automatically want to hire you. You become an engineer, they're like, what kind? Okay, bet, come with us. Like, it's just so broad. You're a chemistry major, you can go work in somebody's engineering firm. You're a biology major, you can go work in biological sciences or medicine. Like, it's just so many things. And technology, don't get me started on that. Cybersecurity, software, all the buzzwords right now, they making the money because it's important to our infrastructure for this country and the world. And so I just think that, just keep at it and keep your mind open because you may come across something that you do like. There's so much for you to do. I highly doubt that you just find it all boring. So,
great advice. Now, what advice would you give to a student who's interested in pursuing a career such as yours?
um, advice I would give is to be confident and seek out opportunities, even if you feel like you're not qualified for them. I do that a lot. And it's worked for me sometimes, and other times they're like, hey, we need somebody with a little more experience. That's fine. I got the opportunity to talk with that person who does have the experience, and now I picked up on some gems that I wouldn't have had without talking to them. And so, if you want to go into a career, I'm going to assume this demographic of people is a little bit older, probably, high school age. I definitely say, seek out some opportunities that align with, it may not be the exact thing. You may not get into the job and be a data scientist per se, but maybe you get into the job and you're a project manager for the data science team. Now you're even closer to that work, and you get to see in a scope and kind of shadow and figure out, what exactly it is that they do, and do I even want to do that? You might change your mind. That happened for me. You might change your mind and switch a major. You might change your mind and switch a career path completely. That happens to a lot of people. So definitely seek out opportunities that get you as close as you can to what it is that you think you want to do.
Love that. All right. And then where can students or parents go, whether to learn more about you, more about your field, your organization? Where can they go for that? Or would you like for them to ask me the questions and then I pass it along to you?
Yeah, either way, you could definitely ask Lex questions if you have more right off the bat. You can find me on LinkedIn at Taylor Coffey. And not many black girls with my name, so I should pop right up. And so I post a lot on LinkedIn. I need to get better at it, but I post a lot about the speaking engagements I do and the work I do in the community. And if you want to know more about just like what I do as a company, I mean, at my company, I work at Rockwell Automation again, and they are also on LinkedIn and they have a public website. And if you want to know more about engineering and being black in engineering, I'm going to shamelessly again plug NSBE is my heart. Like, I wouldn't be an engineer without NSBE. And so the National Society of Black Engineers, they have Instagram, Facebook, you name it, NSBE. I would definitely say follow them and find your local NSBE professionals, if you're a little bit older, or NSBE junior if you are a little bit younger, or your collegiate chapter at your college. And if your college doesn't have one, find a college near you that has one and hang out with them, link up with them. The resources there are phenomenal. I can't stress it enough. NSBE or Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, SHIP, you know what I mean? If you're not black and you want to find somebody else, but for black people, NSBE.
Nesby. Nesby. Love
Mm-hmm.
that. All right. And then is there any advice or any last minute things you'd like to tell the viewers?
Oh my gosh, we at the end
Mhm.
already?
I love my girl Taylor.
Okay. um, Last minute advice. Well, I think I've stressed enough, the importance of having confidence. I want to talk a little bit, just to teach about how you get that, because I think it's like easy to say and sometimes can be hard to execute when you may walk into a room where you are the only black person or the only woman or the only man. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so I think that to have that confidence, truly, truly just take some time and reflect. And if you're a little bit younger, you can do this with your parents, but take some time to reflect and think about, the skill sets that you have and the things that you just know that you're so good at. And I want you to write them down, physically write them down, or type it out if you want to. I know this new age and their iPads, but I want you to write it down and look at that list and really internalize that list, because those are the things that and knowledge is power, and nobody can take that away from you. And that, I think, is what can help fuel your confidence. Because one thing I know how to do is talk to people. I love talking to people, and that's something you can't break my confidence with that. I'll give a presentation any day, anytime. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how to do that, and it's something that I love, and that is what drives my confidence to, hey, go out and apply for things or talk to my senior vice president or the principal at my school or whoever it is. That's what drives that confidence for me, because I know what I'm good at. And no one can take that away from you. And it starts though with a little bit of self reflection, just kind of like having that awareness, or I need to build up on this skill a little bit, but I know I'm really good at this. You know what I mean? I would say confidence is key, but it can be hard to execute. I should know. I have not always been this way. It took a lot of trials and error and kind of awkward moments, and oh, should I have said that, or oh, should I have done that, or should I have wore that? It takes a lot of that, and that's okay. Keep that confidence, because at the end of the day, you refer back to that list that you wrote, and that these are the things I'm good, like, you have that with you. Sorry. Yes.
No, go ahead. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Taylor, for joining us in the STEM Lab, for dropping these gems. And if you guys want more tea with Miss Taylor Coffey, you know where to find her.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for Lexx STEM Lab. We'll see you on that next episode. Bye.